All right, ladies, thanks for hopping on. Tonight we are talking some small admin stuff in regards to the new program, the Crunchy Athlete program. It's week one on the new program. Sorry, again, I'm like looking in the wrong spot. I need to like be looking at my camera. um, Week one of the new program. And just as a review, there's three tracks on the program that you have access to. You have minimal, barbell, and cardio. It's your choice on like what you choose to do that day. You can do minimal and cardio. You can do cardio and barbell. It doesn't really matter what combination you do, but obviously minimal and barbell kind of parallel each other. So you don't necessarily have to do both of those because a lot of the accessory exercises are the same on both programs. So I would say just pick one of those. And if you have time for cardio, great. If you don't, then just do your prep exercises and a cool down. And just remember that consistency beats intensity in the long run. So do what you can, even if you don't have a full 60 minutes. And as a reminder, I will be canceling your memberships on December 1st. So if you see an email about, oh, your membership has been canceled. Yes, it has been canceled because on Squarespace, I need to migrate you all to the new membership just so everything is cohesive. It's a big pain in the butt on my end, but in the long run, it'll be so much better for all of us to have the same member site and everything. And so just don't freak out when you see that I cancel your membership on December 1st and you have until January 1st to re-sign up for the Crunchy Athlete membership. And again, you can choose what day in December you want your card charged. Um, with kind of that stretch and timeline, I'm giving a lot of you several weeks for free. So just take advantage of it and do as much working out as you want. And then January 1st, for those that are, kosher on Squarespace, where you will have your card charged, then I'll send out a half marathon training program and excited to keep you along. If you don't have a membership by then you're getting the boot, and I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is, you know? If you have any questions about that as we go, ladies, you can drop it in the chat and I'll kind of monitor the chat as we go, but should be pretty simple from here on out. I feel like I've sent enough emails about it, but if you have questions, you can email me, kelsey@heyomoreandco.com, and I can get back to you. Okay, two big topics we're talking about today. Two topics that I'm very excited to talk about, very passionate about. One is going to be winter equipment items, mainly being clothing items that I feel like are worth your money. And I can drop, maybe if I'm tech savvy enough, I'll drop links in the chat or I'll drop links in the description so that you can shop directly to these items. But these items have gotten me through four ultra marathons, all the same items, four ultra marathons. I mean, hundreds of miles of training, lots of like snow, ice, wind, rain. These items are going to be a little bit on the pricier side, especially compared to like similar items of different brands. But these items are tried and true in regards to what I put my stamp of approval on and will always probably recommend from here on out, unless something like gravely changes. But let's get started. So I have five items today that I say are crucial for winter exercise, especially winter outdoor exercise. Winter indoor exercise just kind of comes down to making sure you're wearing the appropriate layers to and from the gym. You can change at the gym, or if you have a home gym, then obviously, simple things like if you work out in your garage, purchase a space heater. That's very easy. From a safety tip, if this sounds like so silly, but it's because it's the world that I live in regards to like my problem with my garage. If you're going to close your garage door, make sure you have a secondary garage door in case your power goes out and you're not locked in your garage. And also unhook your garage door so that if you have a garage door opener and you don't have it, you can manually push up your garage door. So seemingly silly, but at the same time, those are the things that I have to think about when I want to work out in my garage and have the door closed, is just making sure I have those safety tips done. And then the space heater. Very simple things. But when it comes to outdoor exercise, walking, jogging, hiking, rucking, my main tip that I want to give to start off is do not underestimate a t-shirt and gloves combo. That sounds very simple, but your trunk is obviously going to be the warmest part of your body. And so, especially if you're going out to run or hike in the winter time, then I really would recommend wearing a t-shirt and then some type of long sleeve. And I'm going to show you a long sleeve option that I have, and gloves. And majority of the time, 20 to 30 minutes in, your trunk is going to be so warm and your fingers are going to be freezing because that's the first part that's hitting the wind, when you're walking or running. And that's just absolutely miserable, and then your hands get chapped. So, what I say is from the very beginning, do not underestimate a classic t-shirt and gloves combo. I like that so much better than a long sleeve and cover the fingers combo, if that makes sense. Like a long sleeve that's like this. I don't totally love this because it gets a little sweaty. So t-shirt and gloves, that's what I always say. Like I have never gone wrong with that combo. But my first item that I'm going to talk about is my wind jacket. This is the Patagonia Houdini wind jacket. This one happens to be a pullover version with buttons, just like a quarter length buttons down the front. I actually also have a size medium that I found at Goodwill one time. And it's full zip with a hood. This one does not have a hood. But the reason why a wind jacket is clutch, multiple reasons. The main one being that it is so packable. Anytime I'm hiking, anytime I'm going to even like an outdoor football game, if I'm going to a football game, then what I'm doing is I can wear this wind jacket. I can put it in my purse, or I can wear it underneath something, maybe that's like a puffy jacket, or maybe like a fleece jacket where the wind is going to bite through the jacket. This will stop it. But because it's not breathable, you have to kind of think about the breathability of things. But because it's not breathable, it's obviously going to keep your warmth in and take the bite off of the wind. So, for example, during one of my ultra marathons last year, I think the high of the entire day was probably like 35 degrees. And obviously, we were like up at the top of the mountain. So it was really cold. But the best thing I did was I wore the combo short sleeve with this over the top. So that took the bite out of the wind. It's not breathable, meaning that my sweat inside of my jacket kind of kept my temperature more regulated. And then I wore my gloves, and I'll go over my gloves in a second. But lots of obvious reasons why I love this jacket. And I actually got this jacket in 2016. I got this jacket in 2016. So that's what, 8 years ago. And I still use it and love it. Like the wear on this jacket is amazing. So I really can't recommend it enough. Other like small features about it is going to be like obviously a kangaroo pouch. And then this little miniature zipper is actually how you pack the jacket down in itself. So you can see how small it packs down. And that's also a pocket where you can like put your, keys, debit card, pepper spray, goo packet, like just small little items. Like if that doesn't like show you how nice this freaking thing is, then I don't know what else does. So I just honestly can't recommend enough. It's a Patagonia Houdini jacket. I wear it constantly. Number one item for sure. Um, Second item is going to obviously be my gloves. Now, these are fleece lined gloves. These are from a brand called Outdoor Research. The inside is like a classic fleece look. But these gloves are also extremely durable. Outdoor Research is like a very reputable outdoor brand. Also, if it matters to anybody, Outdoor Research is a very like such a high quality brand that a lot of the like top tier military units use this brand of gloves, not only as work gloves, they have work glove options, but also as like winter gloves. And so these are just my favorite gloves. And obviously, always get gloves that clip together, especially if you have a running pack on, or again, a rucksack or something, or a vest that you like to wear, because then you can just like loop this through one of the little bungees that's probably on your chest, and then you can just easily, take your goo out. Or you can like adjust your setup if you ever need to adjust your setup. These gloves also have the little touchpad finger so that you can text with the gloves on, which is clutch, I feel like, if you're like out and about and just like fumbling with your items. Cannot recommend outdoor research gloves enough. So again, t-shirt and gloves combo, I wear that all the time. So I would wear like a Patagonia breathable, like light Capilene lightweight shirt with these, and it's like perfect. It's a little cold at the beginning. That's why you wear the wind jacket, and then you take the wind jacket off, and then it's like everything's breathable and you're warm and sweaty and like it feels really nice. Um, okay, number three, I actually have is a buff. I don't know who watches Survivor around here, but Survivor is my favorite show. Either of you ladies watch Survivor? No? Oh my
A
God.
long time ago.
Okay, well,
No,
season 47 is going on right now. So
that is crazy.
I know, which is literally crazy. And Jeff Probst is, continually being
Still
really
going
cool, but
strong.
also filled with plastic surgery. So, he's been working this job a long time.
That's
Anyways,
great.
um, Survivor is obviously notoriously known for their buffs, but I would definitely recommend a buff. This is not technically the buff brand, but you get what I'm saying. And the reason why is because, again, super duper duper versatile. You can obviously wear it around your neck, take the bite out of your neck, like from the wind in the winter. Also, side note, like I really love jackets with like this slouchy hood situation because I know it probably looks a little obnoxious, but this is like the coziest option you could definitely go for. This is outdoor, sorry, not outdoor research. This is Mountain Hardwear. This jacket is. So, anyways, being able to cover your neck is really nice in the long run to be able to just, you can not only like put it around your neck and then like pull it up over your ears, but then you can also wear it as a headband if you'd prefer, your ears to be covered. Sorry, I kind of did that a little awkwardly, like this. You can go like this, cover your ears, and then put your beanie on. You can go down on your neck. I've also actually used them in the summertime also, to put it around your neck and then you stuff ice cubes in them. So, again, very versatile. Talk about like a clutch move if you're out in the summer, like watching your kids like soccer games or something and you're like sweating to death. Like being able to have something like this that you can get wet also. That was another thing my husband did at one point. He had multiple options of these and he would like stick them in an ice chest. And then every time I'd come through an aid station, we would like switch it out. So then I'd have like a freezing cold one. It's like, again, lots of options for regulating your temperature. So a buff. If you want to be super crunchy, the best option would be to find a buff or like another brand. Or a net gator or anything like that that is made out of merino wool. That's going to be the softest, most breathable option that you can use. And again, probably, obviously, this is like synthetic material, so it's plastic, so not great. But merino wool or 100% cotton is going to be your best, but obviously the most expensive. Um, Okay, fourth item, my merino wool socks. Now, I think on one of my posts, I talked about merino wool socks recently, and I mentioned smart wool. And actually, smart wool has my favorite, like, no-show, like, low-cut socks that has, like, a little running tab on the back. Cannot recommend those enough. They're very thin, super durable. Again, merino wool is always going to be pretty expensive. Like a pair of socks, I know you're going to cringe, but like a pair of socks is like $20. But that pair of socks will last you probably 5, 6, 7 years. Extremely durable. They do not stink. Merino wool does not stink. You can rinse them and hang dry them, and they will not stink. Like merino wool is the best of the best. So this actually is another brand. This is Darn Tough. Darn Tough is also another merino wool brand that I really love, and I think they have really fun colors. I don't know if we're into colors here, but um, I just really love these socks. And there is kind of a reason why most trail runners or if you're out hiking, like kind of a longer sock. And it's because not only does it kind of protect you from the brush from hitting your ankles, But it does protect you from bugs too, especially in the summertime. Like you can wear merino wool socks. They will be wicking and help kind of with the sweaty feet, but it'll protect you from like chiggers and ticks and ants and mosquitoes that might be like coming after your ankles. So darn tough. That's what it looks like here. It is, these are like my favorite socks. I have like 3 pairs of them. Again, kind of expensive, but they will last you forever. And these quality brands, especially like Outdoor Research, Patagonia, Darn Tough, Smart Wool, they have like amazing return policies and great customer service because they know like you're spending a lot of money on their items. And so it's definitely worth purchasing. And then my fifth one, which I don't have with me, but it's something that you can consume. And what I would say is do not forget that bone broth is probably one of the most hydrating, nutritious, well-rounded, protein-packed, electrolyte-filled drinks that you can consume. And so if you're coming in again from like a run that's out in the cold, or if you're about to run and you need something just like sitting in your stomach, like you don't want to go like first thing on an empty stomach, which we've talked about in many different ways. Do not sleep on bone broth. Like even if it's just like a small cup to wake up your digestion and then you exercise, great. It's protein packed, it has electrolytes, it's warm, it's cozy, it's tasty, nutritious. I mean, has collagen, gelatin, it has everything that you could need in there. And then also if you're gonna do like a springtime race, like if you have a race that you want to do in February, March, or April and something longer where you're gonna do an aid station situation, then having a warm cup of bone broth, not scalding hot, but like a warm cup of bone broth can be really, I don't know, just like welcoming. Um, like that's pretty popular, I would say, is to have like a warm drink. A lot of people want to have coffee or tea, maybe at an aid station, but I always say if you can do bone broth, that's like a perfect combo. Perfect combo. So, um, any questions, ladies, on any of these items before I move on to ab rehab? If not, then I'll just keep cranking. Okay, perfect. Looks like no. Okay, next, moving on to ab rehab. Top 3 tips for ab rehab. Now, you might be asking, okay, Kelsey, don't have children or I haven't had kids in a long time. Like I'm done having kids. Why do I need to be proactive with this? The reality is if you had your children 10, 15, 20 years ago, you probably didn't even have the option, nor did you even know about, nor was there probably even this available, was pelvic floor PT. And at that time, especially 10, 15, 20 years ago, women just like birthed babies and then were like sent home. And that part of their rehab and recovery journey was not typically addressed. And then now we have women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are leaking while they're exercising. They have painful intercourse and they just find that to be normal rather than just like common, like that should not be normal. Maybe they have pelvic pain when they're exercising, incontinence during the day, or like frequency of urination. So lots of symptomology that you could be experiencing with this. And why would it be important for that woman to now start to repair? The main overarching reason is because your body wants to repair itself. And so if you give it the right stimulus, and different things that you can work on, you can improve those symptoms. And then for a young woman, like for myself, I don't have children yet. But again, I had my appendectomies, which was an abdominal surgery, and I had to personally go through ab rehab. I took a lot of, the things that I've learned from my clients in regards to labor and delivery recovery and C-section recovery, and I got to kind of use that on myself after my surgery that I had. And so even if you don't have children, like you can learn from these principles and prepare yourself moving into like motherhood if that's part of your journey. Number 1, top tip is be proactive with pelvic floor physical therapy. If you have regular insurance, if you have like a normal type of insurance, honestly, if you even had like a Christian healthcare ministries program too, they probably would cover it. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming they would because it's pretty proactive. But what I would say is most insurances, if you go to your OB or whoever you go to get your women's health checkups, and you say, hey, I'm either experiencing these symptoms or I would really love to be proactive with this in my life. Can I please go see a pelvic floor physical therapist? I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times, your OB will be like, great, you're being proactive. Let me send you a referral. They will refer you out, and most insurances will give you up to 12 sessions covered by your insurance. There are special certifications that those PTs need to have in order to see you. But if you are being referred to a pelvic specialist, you can learn so much. Oh my goodness. I went a long time ago just to like learn and grow my mind, and I learned so much. And even as somebody who is a professional of muscles, right? Like somebody who has studied muscles for years and years, was I ever taught the pelvic floor muscles? No, I was not. I was not ever taught the pelvic floor muscles. I was never taught the like how to coordinate your breathing. I was never taught any of those things. And so even somebody like myself, you can read about it, but just going and experiencing that with a pelvic specialist is super helpful. So if you have any of those symptoms or you've had children and you have not seen a PT, you can go before you have kids. You can go after you have kids. You can go when you're 50. It doesn't matter. You should go. Number two, learn how to manage your abdominal pressure. So, our diaphragm is like, oh, I even have my soda water as an example. I didn't even bring this to be an example, but it's perfect. Okay, so this is what you call your core canister, right? So, like that would be your diaphragm would be the top, and then your pelvic floor would be the bottom, and then your abs are sitting in between, and this is called your core canister. Okay, so they should be working in conjunction. When your diaphragm is moving down, your pelvic floor is moving down. When your diaphragm is moving up, your pelvic floor is moving up, and it should be working in conjunction with your breath. Now, certain things like pelvic pain, incontinence, pain with intercourse, pain with exercise, some of those things, I am not the pelvic specialist, right? I'm just can just relay some of the things that I've learned. Um, the old school fashion or the old school mantra is like you just need to be doing Kegels, but the reality is like a Kegel is tightening your pelvic floor. And it would be like if I took my bicep muscle that's already really contracted and then I tried to do more curls, I'm not necessarily fixing the problem. I have to be able to lengthen a muscle in order to contract the muscle or shorten the muscle fully. It has to work both ways. And so, what pelvic PT does, or learning abdominal pressure does, is it teaches you not only how to relax together and contract, relax, contract, relax, contract. So, something that I'm going to challenge you with coming the couple of weeks is anytime you're doing an exercise, I want you to think about your breath and how you can tie that into your breath. Um, so let's use a squat, for example. On the down portion of most of your exercises, especially like a squat, you should be breathing in, filling your body with air, and then on your way up, you should be breathing out. So, another example would be a bench press, right? Bars coming down to your chest, breathing in, and then breathing out. And it's not just the breathing portion that I want you to work on. It's that when you're breathing out, you're actually pulling in your ab muscles to contract. So it's not just like this relaxed muscle and then your lungs are moving. It's it being cohesive and you're tying that together. So down portions of the movement according to gravity, right? Going down like a squat, breathing in and then breathing out. And as you breathe out, your abs are contracting and drawing your belly button into your spine. I know that can be a lot, but if you have any questions, again, you can drop them in the chat because I can see it. Um, Number three, in general, if you have had children and you've had any type of, DR, diastasis recti, which I didn't mention earlier, but that's obviously going to be one of the bigger ones, that would be pretty negative. DR, herniated, any type of hernia, coning, that's also a sign. All of those are a sign of the lack of proper abdominal pressure. And so what I would say is you don't necessarily need to do just sit-ups and forward planking to work on your abs. What I would actually really recommend is to kind of cut those out and substitute those out for a lot of side planks. So anytime there's a regular plank prescribed, but you have a history of working on your pelvic floor or working on improving your DR or improving your coning or hernia, then you need to sub that out for a side plank. So many variations of a side plank. You could do star plank, you could do a Copenhagen plank, um, or you can even move to farmer's carry where you're standing up tall, holding the weights by your sides. You can also go single arm farmer's carry. Um, Another one that I haven't programmed for you guys yet, but it's coming, so be prepared. They're called hack twists, and you would hold two kettlebells, one on each shoulder, and then all you're doing is just standing there and twisting like this. And so not only is your abs, they're having to maintain that twisting portion, but they're also having to decelerate the weight that has momentum and is moving, and then move to the next one. They have to concentrically contract and then decelerate, speed up, decelerate, speed up, decelerate. And so I want to encourage you that if you have any of those symptoms, make those small adjustments, especially if you're already seeing a PT for those items. Those are things that you can absolutely do. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have 10 minutes, but I don't even think we need 10 minutes unless you have any burning questions. I'll sit here awkwardly like I normally do.
I have an unrelated to the topics question. Is that
Yes,
okay?
no, totally fine. Ask away.
But workout related. What are your thoughts on drinking pre-workout before workouts?
That's a good question. Are you asking me for performance or are you asking me as like a crunchy coach?
Both. I
Both.
have been
Okay.
like hesitant about it because I haven't done any research on it for women
Yeah.
specifically. My husband bought it and I
Yeah.
have drank it because it's early mornings when I go, but I'm always
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I should be drinking this. Like it has caffeine, empty stomach, and I don't know. So
Yeah.
I really haven't done research though to see if it's something that is actually good for women or what the deal is with it.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad you asked me that because I have not talked about pre-workout in a long time. Um, so I'm going to give like maybe the positives first because I will say my negatives outweigh the positives, but at least I'll try to be kind of a devil's advocate so you can maybe think about both sides. Pre-workout is meant to be a performance enhancing supplement, meaning that the goal is that you take it so that you can essentially go into your strength training session. It's never advised to take pre-workout before cardio. That will definitely make you want to puke. But before a strength training session, basically what it's doing is it's heightening your arousal state so that your brain is more alert and you can then do more work in your session, more load, more reps, whatever, however you have it set up. Therefore, you have a higher stimulus, therefore, you have a higher progressive overload, and you would obviously build more muscle mass. And that sounds great and dandy, right? And again, for men are in general much more linear. They do well fasting. They do just fine having little sleep. Men really only start to fall apart from not having a lot of sleep until they're like in their 60s. But if women in their 20s didn't sleep, they would be falling apart in their 20s. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of different things that are going on there. But what I would say is that guys do really well with pre-workout because they're typically, if especially if they're working out in the morning, they're going to be fasted and then taking the caffeine. But like you mentioned, for women specifically, I'm never a fan of caffeine on an empty stomach. So especially in the morning, definitely not great with that. From a crunchy perspective, usually the ingredients are pretty trash. There's a ton of artificial sweeteners on it. It makes you very addicted to artificial sweeteners, very addicted to the caffeine. In my humble opinion, it's so much better. I can kind of tell you like what I take is my pre-workout. And it's like, it's not like very crunchy, but it's just like it's just a drastic difference from like the C4, like pre-workout that most guys are buying. But what I would say is what I do in the morning, this is real, I do it every single morning, is I have an espresso machine because my husband's into coffee and everything. And so I pull a double shot of espresso, which is like, 2 ounces of espresso. I mix in whole raw milk, a dash of maple syrup, and a scoop of cinnamon protein powder. And then I blend it. So, what's all in there, right? That has carbohydrates, fats it has carbohydrates from the milk and from the maple syrup. It has fat from the whole raw milk. It has protein from the raw milk and from the protein powder. And it has caffeine, but the caffeine is accompanied with carbohydrates and proteins. So I have found that to be like a much more cohesive drink. And it's filling my belly. Like it's probably 300 to 400 calories. So I'm taking in a good amount of calories with caffeine. It's waking me up. It's still coffee. I can always like get a second coffee later in the day. I don't think having a second coffee is like that bad. I think it's generally okay. Again, just make sure you're having it with food. And so I would say in a perfect world, I would go more of that route. I would go look for natural caffeine substances. So like a black coffee, a tea, a matcha, something like that, rather than artificial sweetener with tons of like powdered packed in caffeine. I know I'm like the messenger of bad news, whatever. But
No, that's very
um,
helpful.
okay. Yeah,
Had a
did you have any
feeling.
follow-up questions with that?
No, I mean that's helpful, and you've talked before about what to eat in the morning because I am often going at 5:30, so that's why
Yeah.
the pre-workout has just been easy and it does
Yeah.
wake me up, but I have had a bad feeling about it because of just
Yeah.
not being sure what it was really doing to me. So that's really helpful to hear you explain that.
Good. Yeah. And I mean, it kind of seems, some people, the thought of like drinking like a cinnamon protein shake at 5 a.m. like sounds nasty. But because I'm like sweetening it with organic maple syrup a little bit and has my espresso in it, it still feels kind of like a morning treat. And I know that I'm getting like a good amount of calories and I'm getting probably 30 to 35 grams of protein in that too. So I think that's better in the long run, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good question. Any other questions, you guys? Good to go. Well, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I appreciate you ladies hopping on. I will post the video later, probably tomorrow or maybe later this week, so everyone else can watch. But if you have any questions, please message me. And let me know if you have any feedback on the new program. I know it's probably not like drastically different from before, but at the same time, if there's any glitches or something, just let me know. I'm excited for you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye,
Thanks. Happy
ladies. Take
Thanksgiving.
care.
Thanksgiving.